All right. Apologies for being a minute or two late there. Just figuring out some logistics. Kind of a last minute show decided to do tonight. We got Aniol Ekai, who's going to be joining us here momentarily. And yesterday put out some questions for people to have a chance to ask him or us about the CrossFit Games that are coming up. Most of the questions we got were for Aniol. So when he gets here, we'll make sure to ask him some of those questions. But in the meantime, we made an announcement today that we've been really looking forward to announcing to you guys. You can see it there at the bottom of the screen already, that our games coverage this year is going to be presented by Strike Movement. And Strike Movement and me have a history that goes back to the CrossFit Games 2 years ago. I was doing some work with Tyler Watkins in the Heat One app, and he surprised me with a pair of shoes that Strike Movement, who'd been supporting our initiative then that season, had provided for us. I was confronted, I guess, by Annie Sakamoto, who saw me unboxing them in the broadcast compound, and she told me those were the best training shoes she'd ever seen. And I thought that was notable because Annie Sakamoto predates a training shoe in CrossFit. So when I went home, I tried out the Haze trainers for the first time. I was incredibly impressed, like surprisingly impressed. Pretty much wore them every day through Christmas. Reached out to the guys there, and I'm like, these shoes are amazing. I don't really want to wear anything else. And been working with them ever since, more or less. This year, we have a chance to work with them for all of our coverage of the CrossFit Games. And that means that for you guys, there's a cool opportunity. It did exist last year at the Tier Wadapalooza for a few days. This time around, it'll last a little bit more. But basically, we got 20% discount code using the code Friend of Strike with Strike Movement throughout our games coverage this year. So huge thank you to them. Excited for what we're going to be able to bring you. But without further ado, the legend himself. Wait, PC, fix this graphic, please. There we go.
Hey, how are you?
Move him to the middle where he belongs. Aniol Ekai, what's up, my friend?
How are you? Good?
Look at this. You're turning people on already.
It's good now. I was seeing like myself a little twisted, but I do see myself good.
You look very good.
Thank you. You hear me well?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, perfect.
But you told me that you were going to be coming from the pool.
The Uber, I had lunch so late that I just woke up from the siesta. I'll go after.
You're going to go to the pool after this?
Yeah, but yeah, like we have a pool here in the hotel, which is so cold. So I use it as a calm down. Yeah.
The hotel pool is cold enough that you use it as a cool down pool after you work out.
Yeah, it's so cold.
Well, I guess it makes sense because it's so hot there in general.
Yeah, it's fucking hot, but it's not that hot as they say. Like, I'm a little bit disappointed about the heat here in Texas.
Okay. One question first of all. In Celsius, what temperature was it the last month that you were in Spain?
30, around 25 to 30 Celsius.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty comfortable, actually.
Yeah, but here it's the same. It's 30.
Okay, I've seen this comment a few times. I think Dave Castro talked about it last night, that the temperatures weren't as hot as he had expected, and so maybe there's some room for other stuff in the future. And I saw some comments from some locals in Texas, and I can attest to this, having lived in Texas for 7 years. Just because it's not hot today doesn't mean it won't be hot tomorrow. And just because it's not hot this week doesn't mean that it won't be 105 every day a year from now the same week.
Okay, I understand.
That was not for you. That was just for everyone.
I've been here for a week, and
this is for you though.
Yeah, I saw it. Nice shirt.
What about this? Oh
my God!
You got the full kit on for you guys.
All the Americans are gonna hate you.
I need to.
We just like Europe, and that's a disgrace for them.
Do you think I was too generous to the Europeans with my rankings?
I don't think so. Maybe a few, but I mean, I know a guy that was not happy with the position you put him. I mean, probably everyone except but the first one, it's not happy with the position you put himself. So
that's right.
It's a difficult job yours.
Yeah, it's not. It's tough because people were calling me out. They're like, "Look at this guy; he's just picking all the Europeans higher than everyone else." And I mean, look, it's like I probably am. but I've probably seen you guys compete more than most of the other people who are making those picks too.
Yes. Oh my God. I just like hate this John Young. Oh my God. He's just a stupid guy.
I thought you were going to say that you're excited for the competition to start, so you can, you know,
I
get a
am.
chance to
I
compete
am
in a
also,
venue
but
where
I
everybody can
just,
see you go against these animals.
I am. I'm really excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah.
Well, man, I got like a million things. I just want to ask you this. The last time that you and I were together was in France. You had qualified for the games. You had a
Yep.
great final day of competition. And we went out to dinner and celebrated a little bit. And, you know, did anything specifically change for you following that weekend that you care to share with us about your life, your perspective, your career?
I mean, obviously, for an athlete that realizing, I think for the European athletes, the games seems to be much difficult than it's for the Americans, because for most of us, making to only like the semifinal or a region, it's already so difficult, and most of us we just set the goal or the dream in that level at semifinal. I'm just realizing that I did qualify for the CrossFit Games, which still is like it's still like you don't realize it that I'm here in. I feel like this is like a Wodapalooza or something like that. That it's an American competition, but it's not. It's just like the fucking CrossFit Games. But yeah, I mean, after the semis, I had like a week off or so, and I was just like, I was not hungry for the games preparation. You know, like it's like for the first week or the first 2 weeks, I was more like, oh, I did it, and I just can relax. And after you just try to like as soon as you start training, it's just like you just have to push yourself because the goal is the games. And I'm not saying like winning the games, but it's just like to do as much as good as I think I can do, you know, and that's the important.
You know, and when you know, even though you haven't competed at the CrossFit Games before, you have a pretty in-depth competition resume. You've competed at several of the big stage events. You've competed against a lot of the big stage athletes, whether it's on a team at Wodapalooza, individually in Dubai, and some other competitions around Europe. Do you feel like you have a pulse or like on where you stand against guys that you've competed against and how they've done at the games? Or do you feel like the CrossFit Games is such a different competition that you're still not really sure?
Yeah, so I think like the rookie uh, the rookie athletes, we have like a disadvantage because for we are not used to the volume of the competition. But I don't think that's like that was maybe before, but this year with the cuts and the stuff, I think it's more gonna be like if you are used to the schedule of the pressure of being in this kind of competition, it's also important. So obviously, if you've been in the games before, you have a little bit advantage. Also, having the same a new venue, it's also like good for being a rookie because no one knows how's the venue and no one knows how is it gonna be. And if you have to do your rookie year, I think it's easier to do it like at the same. It's everyone is a rookie kind of, so everyone is a rookie. And then for my competitors, so yeah, I think like of course I know I have like the European athletes more well known because I've been competing against them a long time ago, and with the non-European, some of them competed in Dubai, some of them competed in Wodapalooza, but it's a different competition. I think Dubai is probably the best indicator for the competition because of the fitness, like the type of events that we had. That are
I
tough.
agree.
And we have not so much recovery between events. That looks like it's going to be like this, like the Brazilians or other people in the competition. But I think this kind of games, it's more like it's a different competition that I've never been of, and I'm really excited to just like to see how it goes, and to take some notes and improve for the next one. But I hope it's gonna be a lot.
You decided to come over to the States pretty early. How have you been here 2 weeks or 3 weeks already?
Yeah, we arrived to Vegas. I think it was the 14th.
So it's been at least 3 weeks, and
Yes.
you spent most of it in Vegas. It was, I mean, you got a chance to train with, I know, with Ricky and Alex quite a bit, and it seems like even more than training, you guys maybe became friends over there in a way that you hadn't previously.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. Actually, it went way better than expected. Like the first day, they were having on Monday they were having like this rest day, and we went to the gym and just to have a little sweat and stuff. And I was a little nervous just because I don't know, like how is it gonna be? Are we gonna be cool with them, or are we gonna be more by our own? And then as soon as we met them, we just started hanging out like all day long. Like we usually met at the training at the Gino at the Reno Northwest at 9:30, around 9:30 a.m. And we just spent all day together until 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. So it was
Oh,
great. Yeah. It
and
was great. I mean, and they are friends. Yeah, I mean, yesterday we went to the rodeo here in Fort Worth. We're having fun. I really think they are new friends of me and Helena. So yeah.
yeah, that was really cool. And Michelle wasn't there when you guys first got there. She came like a
No.
week after or something.
Yeah, she came on Saturday. Yes.
Was that nice? Then the girls started to have someone to hang out with a little bit.
Yeah, but still, we were all of us going all day together. So it was great. But Michelle and Helena and Alex, they are also like they are really close as me and Ricky. We are. So yeah.
And I mean, look, you might be a rookie at the games. Your coach is not a rookie. He's coached, several people to the games before.
Mhm.
And you just spent 3 weeks in Vegas with not just athletes who've had success at the CrossFit Games before, but around Justin Kotler, who's, been
Mhm.
coaching athletes to the CrossFit Games since before I was ever even doing CrossFit. And
Yeah.
what was it like to spend a little bit of time with him?
Justin is he's so nice. Yeah, we actually I liked him a lot because he was all day like he was in the gym with us all day like for the workouts or stuff, and he always has like the good thing to say, and I really like it about him. Like you see that he really enjoys coaching. He loves coaching, and he's a great guy, and he's just like a good guy, and I just really like him. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, Justin's he's a close friend of Patrick and mine as well, and it was one of like the sneaky little things that I thought was going to be pretty cool for you to get to spend some time with him. Um, Another friend of ours came to visit. Were you there when Andrew Hiller was there?
No,
No, that was
no,
before.
no. I think he was there on Sunday, and we just arrived Sunday, but we didn't.
Oh,
We
you
didn't.
missed him.
No, we were not with him.
I was going to see if you had a chance to meet him or not. Maybe you'll meet him next week.
Yeah,
Well, if he met him,
be around.
if he would have met him, he probably would have moved up Andrew's polls because Andrew always people he meets personally and talks to, he ranks higher than people he doesn't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know what he put me on the ranking.
Yeah,
28 probably.
something like that.
I can't remember, but I think
Yeah.
missing the cut. Yeah.
The
Well,
first
I
cut.
mean, John Young put me on 33rd, so yeah.
No comment there. Now you have got a nice little hairdo there. I wasn't sure
Yeah.
if you were going to cut your hair for the games or not.
No. Honestly, I'm sick of the long hair, but
What?
yeah, I'm tired. But with the braids, I really like it, and I
Feels
think
good.
after like this is pretty good. But tomorrow Lucille did me the braids, and tomorrow we're gonna do them again, so they are fixed for the games. After that, after the games, I'll probably visit like a barber shop and just tell them to do these braids but harder, so I don't
Mhm.
have to do anything in like 1 month or so. This is gonna be my look, my outfit look for the next season, next month or so, like couple months.
Okay, I thought you were just gonna shave it all off or something.
No. I like long hair, but I'm just like, it distorts me all the time.
So this is nice because it's out of the way.
Yes.
And there's a fair amount of running that we already know is coming, so you got to be a little bit aerodynamic there.
Yeah, exactly. For here, there.
All right, PC, we got some questions
Well, you know what?
from what?
Yeah, but before we go, it's like, are you expecting like Dave Castro to say something about your braids?
I don't think Dave Castro reminds my name. So
Oh.
I wish he reminds me, but I don't think he will. He interviewed 80 people, and we had a great time in the chat talking with him. I had a great time, but I don't think he will be worried about who I am and how is it going. Like,
Oh, you might give him a reason to. How about that?
yeah, probably he will have to ask, who's this guy?
Yeah, if I
That's
remember
Dave Castro.
correctly, he actually said your name pretty well the first attempt.
Yes. I think he's the only one in America that said my name at the first time. Good. There are other people that they just keep saying it bad no matter what.
Those people are doing that on purpose.
Yeah.
All right, Aniol, yesterday we asked I asked Instagram for some questions. I think I picked 9 or 10 questions. I filtered a few of them out. A couple were like duplicate questions, but we lined them up here. So we're gonna have some fun asking or answering some questions from people on Instagram. Bunkenberg, what has been the most challenging aspect of your training and preparation for the games?
I think training with Ricky and Alex has been a really, really good thing and really challenging for me, because Ricky, I met him in Dubai this past year, and he was a nice dude. But competing like training with him regularly, it just helped me to see like how good I am. Like, because in some of the workouts, well, he beat me in all of the workouts we did, but one. But still, we had I had the level to just follow his pace in most of the things, and it was a close race for most of the workouts we did. And also see how they, like, I see like for Ricky and Alex, they are just like so relaxed and so calm for the games, and it helped me to see like it's not that important, like for me, I felt a little bit of pressure, like I wanted to do well. I want to show the world how good I am, and it's not about that. It's more like you just do another competition, and the world's not gonna end no matter what. I think that's like mentally it helped me a lot, and also seeing like my level of fitness, it's also pretty good. So that's close. That's probably the best thing that I've been for this games preparation.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I mean, you could you think about like movies, sports montages, and these things over time. And a lot of times, there's these up and coming athletes that get a chance to train with someone who's kind of done it before them, and you see this exactly what you're talking about. The veteran, the established guy, the guy who's been competing for the title of fittest on earth before, or the world champion or whatever, is just slightly beating this guy. But that's like the best way to sharpen your skills when you are kind of just breaking through into a scene. So I think that's an amazing opportunity that you had these weeks.
Yeah. Not only the see it in the race, like during the workouts we did, but also like in the technique. Both like Ricky, especially, he moves pretty well. He does most of the things so efficiently, and Justin also helped me and also Alex in some things to improve, like some gymnastics. We saw some other stuff. We just catch up to improve a little, just like this last touch for it, and I think that's also important.
The ring muscle ups were looking smooth the other day. You feeling light?
Yeah, I mean, feeling ring muscle ups, it's probably movements that I've been improving the most in this last year, probably. I have to work on my pegboard, but on my triple.
Well, I mean, I remember talking
Yeah.
to you about ring muscle ups in Pamplona, because they had the 30 ring muscle ups for time, and you look pretty smooth on that video you posted the other day, even compared to 6 months ago.
Yeah. I improved a lot the ring muscle ups. I'm looking forward some ring muscle ups. Running and ring muscle ups, it's the thing that I want to test myself. Not that I'm the best, but I just like I feel like I work on it a lot, so I want to see how good I am.
That's awesome. Well, good. Yeah, PC.
Which of the workouts that have been released so far, is there any one of the workouts that you're really you're excited for?
I mean, honestly, I'm just excited for all of them because it's a new experience, and I want to just like see how it goes and see how I deal with all this stuff. But if I have to pick one, the mile, it's I'm really excited because since I started preparing the semis and I started running more and more and more, I put my goal in the 2024 like ending the year 2024 with a sub 5 mile.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's my goal. I don't really think I can do that on the Farrington field. I wish. I think it's gonna be close.
That would be
but
awesome.
I don't know also how is the spring gonna be. How tired are we gonna be after it? But yeah, I've been improving a lot. But the mile and the sprint, it's gonna be tough and fun.
That would be great if
the lights with all the people cheering. It's gonna be a fun workout.
Yeah,
that'll be fun. I think it was Haley Murillo on Coffee Pods and Wads that said that she wanted to see just like a straight track event like that. That's something I've been asking for so many years now, just because I think that it's exactly what she said. It's something that everyone can relate to. And so, yes, these people have already done 5 events prior to getting to there that night, but they're still going to run mile times that someone can look at and be like, wow, in the middle of a competition, that guy just ran a 4:57 mile or whatever.
I don't know how many people are going to do the mile under 5 minutes.
One.
Only one?
1 or 2. That's my guess at that point in the competition. I think if it was just fresh, I think that maybe 5 guys could do it.
I saw a lot of people saying that they have a sub 5 mile.
Do you think Ricky can do it?
Ricky will do it. No more. Like Ricky can do it.
I think. Okay, then if
Ricky,
maybe they're more confident.
Ricky, most thing that I've been impressed about Ricky, it's his running. Like this guy is. It's just like we did a lot of running and we did some series in the track, and we were running fast, like under 5-minute mile for series for like 600, 400, 500s. And I was fucking tired, and he was like,
that's the best Ricky impression ever.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah. Someone said this. I can't remember who said it this year, but it was I think it was one of the athletes on an interview. They basically said, "Well, the winner of the CrossFit Games is the guy who's the best runner that's strong enough."
Exactly.
And when you're thinking about guys who can win the games this year, most people are looking at Ricky, Adler, and Roman as the top 3 choices. All those guys are good runners. All those guys are strong. So you have the baseline recipe, because if you're strong, I mean, just think back to when Fraser entered the scene. If you listen to his interviews, and he would say, yeah, I mean, I could already snatch 310 pounds or whatever. And the first time I tried to do ring muscle ups, I could just do them because I was strong enough to do them.
To look the balance between being strong and, that's the difficult thing about CrossFit, right?
Super hard. And look at the workouts that we have already. Like, we know there's gymnastics skills coming. We know there's other weightlifting movements coming, but you already know that you have to run long, you have to run fast, you have to swim, you have to have this 20-minute chipper workout. Like, you have to be able to go long. You have to have that aerobic component at the CrossFit Games more than anywhere else.
Yeah.
All right, we got another question?
We do. There we go.
Isaac Noah Dreams. How is your diet? Any changes the week before or during the CrossFit Games, maybe compared to in the run-up to or the preparation for the games?
So my diet is, honestly, I just try to eat as much as I can all day long. There's no secret. Like since we get here in Trifecta is helping me. They send me some. Thank you for the backup, Patrick. So Trifecta sent me some stuff for the games. Honestly, since we get here in Vegas, my like as our schedule is just changed a little. So I usually in Spain, I usually breakfast at around 8 a.m. Then doing training, I don't eat that much in the first session. Then I have a really good meal, really big meal at around 2 p.m. Then
siesta.
yeah, siesta, of course. And then we just have a little snack before training around 5. I train, and then I just have dinner around 9. And here in Vegas, like here in the States, the breakfast was a little bit earlier, and then we train from 9:30 to 11, 12, something like that. We just ate. We eat at that time. Like we have a chipotle or something like big meal. Then we train again at around 1, and then after we finish at 4 or so, I just from 4 to 9 p.m. I just eat as much as I can. One meal, two meals, bananas, whatever. Like it's just like I really like it because I was feeling more recovered for the next day. Like the volume was not that high as it used to be in Spain, but yeah,
But the
honestly,
intensity is up.
what?
But the intensity is up.
Yeah. The training is comparing to how they train in Spain and how we did train here. It's a little bit different. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that was definitely a theme of the interviews that Dave did, is that he was talking to the athletes about how much they train. And he was, it seemed like he was kind of conveying this thought that if must have had a burrito if Chipotle has a big meal. Okay,
Yeah, it's a burrito, double rice, double chicken.
there you go, Jeff.
There it is. That's the Ekai order.
He was basically suggesting that he thinks there's been a trend, I think, amongst high-level athletes of doing more volume rather than more intensity, and that if you can find the sweet spot with that, that's where you're going to have probably the optimal success at least at competitions that he's programming.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we can look at the schedule right now. They already put the schedule out. Is there a potential that there's a 2-part workout, or like where it says event? Like where it's the only way that I think could see that is at the final, where it says event 11 is actually event 11 and 12, because the rest of them are already in order.
Yeah, 3, 3, 3, and then 2.
Right. Yeah. And that's not like 11 is on the low end. We
know that we probably like the field event is going to be 2 scored events.
Maybe, but them off that way. Otherwise, I still think it might only be 1 score. But we'll see. They could have some nuances in there. But if it is 11 scores, that's on the low end. It's still on the high end of competitions in general. But he would be that would be in alignment with what he's done all season long, or what they've done all season long. 1 less workout at the semifinals, 1 less workout at the quarterfinals, and really putting a premium on that intensity. And when we give you guys a test, you must be able to do it well, because there's only a few opportunities to do it.
Yeah, I like the more workouts, the better, and I want to do a lot of workouts. I want to get to Sunday, so yeah.
PC, what the screen?
Sorry, I lost it. When you're in a place like Texas, where you've been to Texas before, correct?
Yeah, we went to Austin last year in Appaloosa. Yeah, but it was
Alex.
So it was.
Yeah, so you're used to like the American food here. Is there like a particular restaurant? I mean, you mentioned Chipotle. Was there anything else that kind of and did you find there's like a much difference in like eating like Spanish food versus like American food, especially in Texas?
It's a lot different, but Chipotle, it's probably the thing that we ate the most. We ate like a lot of chipotle. And honestly, I don't know how much chipotle we eat, but we eat a lot of chipotle.
Yeah.
It's all we need, like
Mhm.
carbs and some protein. And that's it. Yeah, the food is way worse. Spanish food is it's better, but
Cleaner.
yeah,
Yeah,
cleaner.
that's because
But the good thing about America is like
remember
you
that
guys
steak
have
place you took me to?
yeah, I know.
Come on.
Real quality. But the
Yeah.
thing is, like here in America, you have the kitchen all open for the 24 hours, and in Spain sometimes we just can eat because it's just like not the time to eat, especially. Sorry,
Yeah.
I want to drink some water. But yeah, honestly, it's been good. I didn't notice. I thought that it was gonna be harder to eat clean and to eat well in the stage, but it's been good.
It's potentially also an advantage of coming in and integrating with someone like Ricky and Alex and Justin is that they can tell you where to get food, where to go to the grocery store, some of their favorite things.
Yes, that was good. Yeah, they helped us a lot.
All right, next question.
There you go.
Oh, this is an interesting one. Stephen Mulgrew. When you hear athletes stand by, so you're on the starting mat, 10 seconds, stand by. You know you're within a couple seconds of go time. Do you have a place that you go to mentally? Different every time? What happens for you?
Well, honestly, when I step like into the floor, like for the semifinals, um I was nervous. I was so nervous. Like I was not scared, but only in tension. Like knowing that it was the moment of truth. Like the moment to shine or the moment to prove that I was in shape. And honestly, my mental preparation for this is as soon as I step into the floor, I just think about how is the workout going to be. For example, this same workout we had here, that the second workout. Okay, I'm gonna do 100 double unders, then 20 toes to bar, then 10 front squat. I'm gonna move the bar, and again and again and again. I just repeat this, and as soon as I hit like the 10 seconds, I don't think about anything. Just like, let's go, vamos, positive thoughts and all this stuff. But yeah, try to analyze a lot what I'm saying to myself during the workouts. So yeah.
Just because you said vamos there, I have to ask you, did you watch, have you been following any of the Olympics, the Spanish athletes? You watch the tennis?
Yeah, I didn't watch tennis because it was not, we cannot watch it here. It's way difficult to watch it here. But yeah, I know that Alcaraz lost just like a couple hours ago.
I only watched like the 7-minute highlights on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
he did not play good, Alcaraz.
Well, I mean, every point they showed was like impressive. I mean, to beat either of those guys is a fight every point. To just win a point off either one of them. So I think the overall level of tennis was really high. And if I'm not a huge Djokovic fan in general, but just taking myself out of the equation, like it was his last chance to do that. It's kind of a cool thing for him. Carlos got 20 years ahead of him.
Djokovic is a monster. He has won all of the trophies he can win.
Now that was the last one. So that was like a huge moment for him late in his career. Okay, cool. Next up, what do we got?
All right.
Oh, Rodri, do you still have free time during the games prep to play League of Legends? Or if not, how do you take a mental break when you don't have that option available?
Yeah. So no, I did not play League of Legends since like after the semis. I had 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I had 2 weeks of playing, then I just quit League of Legends because it just stressed me more than helps me to relax.
I should tell people that when I was in Spain last in February, you were just acquiring like the best setting for playing this game. Like it's something you love.
I love, I do play other games that doesn't stress me out as League of Legends. But yeah, I miss League of Legends a lot, honestly. I can wait to be back in Spain so I can play like for 1 month all day long.
Well, but I think it's nice to recognize this is something I talk about every once in a while, and I talk to people about it, and I'm not sure if everyone gets it. But it doesn't matter if you're just a normal guy who's going through their life and then going to the gym, or if you're the best athlete in the world that's going to a competition. But your body can only handle a certain amount of stress at a time or in a day. And CrossFit workouts are stressful. You're like applying stress to your body. So if you see something in your life that's causing you stress, that's limiting the amount of stress that you can put on yourself in a training session or at a competition that you need for the adaptation that you want as you pursue being with the best on earth at this.
Yeah, totally. I try to just stay out of the stress. Only CrossFit gives me stress, and also with the relationship and stuff, it works the same way. Like I try to step away from some kind of relationship that doesn't like, guys, if you're doing something that it's not good for my performance, I'm just not coming, and that's it. Just have fun, and I'll be your friend, but for now it's just like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's an element of what Ben Bergeron used to talk about, is to be the world champion of something. You can't have balance in your life. Like you have to be selective about where you put your energy.
Yeah. I accept that this is not helpful, and not helpful, but this is not health, and I'm not looking for health or for balance. I'm just trying to be the best CrossFitter that I can, and I know that I'm just like losing a lot of different things, a lot of experience, but honestly, I don't care. Like
no, because you're
the
also
only,
pursuing
thing
something
that I just like, sometimes it's just like difficult. It's because I'm away from Helena and my dog and my mother. For the rest, I'm just fine with it.
and as a result of it, you get to have experiences that a lot of people are trying to have and are not able to achieve.
Yeah, of course. I also feel lucky for this.
Awesome. Okay. Hello, Melanie. Jeff, gonna be at the field on Farrington and a fan experience Saturday. Can't wait to see you, man. Great dude, Jeff. And PC, you're going to be around at the games. PC. So someone else. Oh, Julian was saying earlier that you thought I was already in Texas. That was Patrick. Patrick's in Texas. He's been in Texas. He was up in Fort Worth area the past couple of days visiting.
When are you coming?
Me.
Yes.
Tomorrow. By this time, I'll be there.
Okay, that's good.
And Patrick will be gone.
Yeah, I know.
Time tomorrow.
He has duties to do.
He does.
But it was great seeing everyone yesterday. That was really cool. I mean, I don't know if you kind of when you train with the training culture, you obviously you have so many athletes there, but do you ever experience something like that you saw at Westwood, where you had so many athletes just coming in, training, have you ever experienced anything like that?
I mean, we have a great group in San Sebastian for this last year, but obviously there are not 15 games athletes. But the thing is, like, I don't know if it's because have some experience, or I train with really good guys, but I'm not impressed anymore by these people that come out in the gym and just do a lot of stuff. I better look at them because I'm not worried at all, or I don't care. I think it's this for everyone, because at this level you just like you're capable of, and you don't see, or you don't pay attention to the others.
It's just a weird dynamic I noticed yesterday. It's like, you were there with your coach, Callum, Alex was there, and, everyone else was kind of off and they're doing their own coaches. But there was also like a certain, like, I guess, sign of respect. Like if you wanted to pass someone or ask if they were going to use, like the gym, Westwood only had one GHD.
Yes.
So everyone was all using this GHD. So everyone was kind of waiting their time. Because I came up to you guys and asked if you were done. You guys were just starting with it because Sahar and Andrea wanted to use it. But there was that mutual respect, but at the same time, everyone was respecting each other's
Mm.
space. But it was just really cool to see everyone in one space, and and it just seemed like everyone was loose too. Like I didn't feel any tension there, and I think it's because everyone was so focused on the task.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, it's weird just to hang out with your competitors in the same gym 1 week prior to the games. But I think it's just how CrossFit works. I don't think we see this in any other sports. You just see how is the other athletes. You see him moving weights, him snatching or cleaning or whatever. It's kind of weird if you think about it.
It's very weird.
Like it doesn't happen in any other sports. But yeah, I think we all get used to each other. We know each other. All the others, all the people that were on there, we know all of the, like we met or we know a little bit about each other. So we just try to have like a respectful space for everyone, and that's it.
It actually happens every week in disc golf. All the players that are in the tournament show up at the tournament. They all practice on the same course all weekend long. Some of these guys make videos. They're like, here's my course preview video. This is exactly what I would do to win this hole. And the best players in the world are making these videos, and everybody else can watch them and learn from them. But those guys have confidence that when it comes down to doing it, they can do it better on the day, in the moment, during the match. And that's what it is. It's like, yeah, everyone can come and train here and you can beat me all you want. But if I'm Jeff Adler, Ricky Garrard, Pat Vellner, Roman Krennikov, like I know that when I go out and take the floor, that there's 35 guys here that have never beat me. You know? And until they do, I'm still the guy.
True. Until the Spaniard comes, fuck you.
Rui Tiago, 23. Is there any movement or exercise you don't want to see at the games this year?
I mean, based on my performance, there are quite a few that I don't want to see.
Well, something. Okay, I'll let you say whatever you want.
But in the other hand, it's gonna be like a test for me. Like, how can I handle these kind of things? But if I have to pick three, for example, I will not say a 1 RM of overhead squat. That's bad for me. Still, some pegboard, legless pegboard, it's also bad for me. And then triple unders, it's also bad for me. Now, that's probably the worst three movements that I can have right now.
Well, we'll see if they show up. I would guess.
Yeah.
I don't think that more than one of those will show up.
Yeah. I don't see a 1 rep max overhead squat.
No, I don't think it either, but just in case.
Yeah. How are you with volume? Like if a moderate weight with reps?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
So the problem is it's more about just put it on the lockout position than any other stuff.
Gotcha. And then, I mean, everyone assumes there's going to be triple unders, but
I don't think they come out. I still have 1 year.
Yeah.
My wrist started to work a few days ago. Before it was just like not working.
The one thing I don't like about triple unders is that puts a lot of stress on the judges. For triple unders.
I don't think so, but yeah.
I do. I mean, now granted, those are usually the best judges there. It's more of a sound than it is a sight thing, but
it's a sound.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a sound.
You can try to do fast and you're just doing doubles.
All right, let's go to the next one.
All right. I think this is more for all of us. So, Brian, why don't you answer this one, Brian?
Any athletes you think will have a career-changing games? I mean, it actually is interesting. This year in particular, I have talked to a couple athletes or coaches that have spoken about their athletes and basically said, this year at the CrossFit Games changed that person's life for whatever reason. And sometimes it's because of performance. So, it is that like if you finish in the top 10, in the top 5 on the podium, there's certain things that get unlocked for you as an athlete in terms of, sponsorship, partnerships, this type of thing. So that certainly can be life-changing or career-changing, I would say. So I'm going to kind of interpret it as that. kind of a question because it's a little open-ended from Rob's Media,
all.
by the way. So
That's
are
how
there
I
any
look at it.
athletes? Yeah. Are there any athletes that I think can have a career-changing games? And basically to have a career-changing games, I'm going to say you need to, in terms of performance, probably finish definitely in the top 10, maybe in the top 5 to have with the sport right now, to have that level of change. And when I'm thinking about that, I would say that the chances are way more likely on the women's side than the men's side. I feel like the 5 guys that finish in the top 5 are at least 4, and probably all 5 of them will have already finished in the top 5 at the CrossFit Games previously in their career. And if I'm looking at the women's side, the one that I think has the biggest chance to do that is Alexis Raptis. Now, even though she's already had a good career, I know that going from 10th to 4th can like be really a game changer for someone like that, and stringing together 2 impressive, seasons can be really, really critical. So she would be the first name that I would pick. Sorry, PC.
Yeah,
You told me I
mine.
could go first.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, damn, as you kept on talking, I was like, he's going to say Alexis. He's going to say Alexis Raptis. And yeah, I agree with that. On the men's, I also think it could be something like someone like Amy Kringle, who is well known in the UK. I think, she's just so marketable. And I think she just doesn't, the US audience as a whole doesn't know much about her. And if she has a good games, which I predict she might have a pretty good games, that it could propel her into some situations that she's not familiar with, or some into the U.S. or North American market. She obviously has the look. She has, an interesting story. But I think, and she doesn't have to finish maybe top 15 or top 10 for a woman. I think the men have a little bit more. They have to be like top 5 for it to kind of change them, unless you're someone like Colton Mertens or, but yeah, on the men's side, yeah, I don't.
Well, that's
I
a good
can't really-
shot. That's a good call with Amy Kringle, because you could, compare her to someone like Danny Spiegel potentially, who doesn't have to have a top 10 games finish to have a performance that does change her career in terms of earning potential. Aniol, when you see that question, what comes to mind for you?
Yeah, I was thinking about not about the performance stuff, but just like the narrative thing of the athlete. For example, I don't know what will happen if Ricky wins the games, or Roman wins the games.
Yeah,
or
that's good.
some rookie just sneaks out at the top 5 that I'm not thinking I think it's hard to happen, but it can happen. Or I don't know, or Maleiros just breaks the top 5, or he just he's not doing well again, and he just like put like 30 or something like that. Like this kind of stuff, just like the one side or the other side of both kind of.
Yeah,
I think
I love
everyone has the chance to just like change the career, but it's just difficult because fitness it's not like soccer, it's not like football. It's difficult to the magic to happen. Fitness is like the top 3. Everyone knows how is it gonna be in, or everyone knows, or everyone thinks how is it gonna be, and it's difficult to see Roman or Ricky out of the top 5 or the top 10.
Right.
That would be a shock.
That's a very interesting take. I like that, because I've known Ricky for a while. I've known Michelle for a while, and I think, him winning the games would change his life in so many ways, and change like not just his life but Michelle's life, because that's his partner. She's been with him through those highs and lows, and I think that's a really good way of looking at it. Same with Roman, where Roman's done with so much. If he wins the games, he does this as a job. Like, the reason why he's here, the reason why he moved to Tennessee. I mean, he has a family to support, and winning the games. I mean, that money changes a lot of people's lives, but when you have a family, yeah. But when
like
you have
if Laura
family,
it's also different, like, because a lot of people just kept saying about Laura. If last year Tia was there, she wouldn't have won, and maybe she has like it can happen, and this also changed the narrative of the things.
Yeah. Well, Brian, this kind of goes back to my pick. If Gabby finishes second ahead of Laura, I think her career changes.
No, I'm actually really I'm grateful for Aniol's perspective on that, because there is a huge difference for a guy, especially someone like, I think Roman's a perfect example. Like, he's been chasing winning the CrossFit Games and has been this close, like feeling like it's right there within his grasp for the last 3 years now.
Mhm.
And it's one of those things. Is he just going to be the guy that always gets as close as possible and comes short, or is he finally going to break through and stand on top? And when you think about, besides on the competition floor, everything in his life that's happened, that he's given up, that he's had to deal with and overcome just to be have the opportunity to do it.
Mhm.
It's like, that's like I don't know if it's as much career changing as it's life changing, but it's equally powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That thanks for that, man.
Yeah.
That was that was awesome.
That's a good story behind.
Yeah.
I mean, there are stories. There is a different story for every athlete, so you just have to dig in every athlete.
Yeah.
And that's why, even if he doesn't remember your name, it was cool that Dave spoke to all you guys.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, that's a really good thing he did. Yeah.
It plants the seed for the opportunity for those stories to be told and to take hold a little bit more with the people who watch those.
Yeah, for the people who watch us, I think it's going to be easier to know who are the rookies or who are the people that are coming out, or maybe one guy just destroys one event. They might know, oh, this guy, yeah, I remember him on the interview, or blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
All right, what's next?
All right, this I want you. I don't want Brian to answer this first, and I want you to answer this first, and I want to hear Brian. I want to hear Brian if he thinks it's the right.
Okay.
If he.
There's a story for you became.
Story.
So
what's your story? Let's hear your side and see if Brian agrees with it.
This is like
one. Are you
ask
friends with Brian?
How did we met? We are boyfriend and girlfriend now. We are in a relationship. So I think we first met on Dubai 2022. I think you were around there, and we just talked for a bit over there. And after that, did we met in Budapalooza 2023?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we spent some time, but not that much time.
Not as much.
No. Then semifinals 2023, we met.
Mm-hmm.
No, wait. The first thing I knew about Brian was that in the 2022 Dubai CrossFit Championship, he put me like 16.
Mm-hmm.
He finished 6th.
Out of 20. We were 20.
Mm-hmm.
And he put me like 16. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy. I fucking hate him.
I was no better than John Young to you then.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
so there's hope for John.
Guy who doesn't
he's
know
worse. Me. He's worse. He's way worse. Yeah. Don't worry.
But so you're saying that you and John Young could still become friends if you and Brian became friends?
No, because I don't like the way he talks about the European.
Gotcha.
I'm looking forward to meeting him actually.
Well, maybe we can make that happen. I don't know.
No,
but
if I see him, I will say something to him. But I mean, I don't think he comes to say hello to me.
Probably not.
Okay, so
well, the thing is, we met in Dubai, then Budapalooza, then semifinals. That you were with Joe. Actually, you were around with Joe, right?
Yep.
And then next time we just kept talking for that time. And then Madrid came. I was doing teams, and since then we were already friends. Like we would just talk, and then Dubai again, which we had more time to be friends, and then Pamplona, and then you spend some time with us, and that's it, right? I think it's just like naturally we just like how do you say, like
click.
We spend some time with other, like we like each other, the values, the things we talk we had a great time, and that's it. Like
He
nothing.
wore you down. Brian wore you down.
I just kept showing up.
Yep. He's like, he's gonna have to like me eventually if I keep on showing up.
Yeah, and we were more friends when he put me inside his top 10 in semifinals this last year. That's when
That's great.
he got me.
Hey, Brian, do you kind of remember it the same way?
Yeah, very similar. The first time Aniol came on my radar was when he was cheating on the dumbbell thrusters at Madrid a couple of years ago.
That's when everyone came on the radar. And you're the cheater, right?
And I was like, okay, well, maybe he could have had a little better lockout, whatever. But this competition was this was after the fact that I honed in on something about the best CrossFitters in the world, which is that they're really good at workouts that are 3 to 8 minutes long. Every workout at that competition was 3 to 8 minutes long. In fact, they were all like 5 to 7 minutes long.
Yeah,
and
that
you
was
were just consistent.
My best kind of workout. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was thinking to myself, okay, I don't care if his thrusters were a little short on the extension or whatever, because this is a relatively young athlete to competition. Like, he's pretty new to this high level of competition, and he can clean that up. But if he's putting up competitive times on this style of workout against those types of guys, that gets my attention. And so then I was still fading you in Dubai that year, but then I actually saw you compete. And then I was like, okay, guys actually got some potential. The team competitions are what they are, but then pretty much every competition that since then you've been,
we just
getting better.
been in the same competitions, right?
Yeah,
all around the globe.
And I think that the thing that really cemented our friendship was this time in San Sebastian after Pamplona Games this last year. The way that you and really the whole team over there, but you and Helena in particular, spending time with me, making me feel like valued as a friend of yours throughout those few days there was like, that was really nice.
Yeah, we had fun.
Yeah, I remember Brian calling me and telling me about that. It's like, yeah, because I was like, what are you planning on doing after Pamplona? He's like, well, I go spend some time with the training culture guys, and then he mentions like, yeah, he's like welcoming me to his home. We're doing, he's showing me his hometown. We met the what was it, the strongman stone? He's telling me that story, and and yeah, he was just like talking about just how welcoming you were to him.
I try to be. That's one thing about I like the Americans. They are really good hosts, and we have to learn Spanish. We are not. I mean, I try to be, but Americans are really, really good hosts.
You guys were great. Aniol, do you have to go at the hour?
No.
Oh, okay.
You just have to go to the pool afterwards. Helena went to the groceries, so I'm pretty chill.
What if I told you that Patrick was afraid of Coach Mike?
Yeah, I understand. He looks angry all the time.
Yeah. What did I tell you, Brian?
He's serious.
Yeah.
But in the short, he's actually nice. He likes to tell some jokes.
That's what Brian said.
That's what I told Patrick. I said his English is just good enough that he can tell good jokes, but sometimes he's like off by one word or the past tense with the present tense, which just makes it even funnier.
Yeah, because he asked me, he's like, hey, yesterday, did you, I was like, yeah, I talked to all of them. He's like, did you talk to Coach Mike? I'm like, no. He goes, why? I'm like, he scared me.
Yeah. It's good to have a coach that scares so people don't disturb you in the games.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't really talk to you that much until when you were done and we were sitting on the box, because that was really the only time I talked to you. But most of the time I spent talking with Alex, but Alex talks to everybody, so
he's a jab.
That was fun to relive a little of the memories. Ilya, thank you for that opportunity there.
Thank you, Ilya.
Do we have what do we have? One or two more?
We got two more. Let's try this one.
This is in Spanish.
I'll
translate.
You want to translate?
I want you to say it.
I'm assuming
I want you to say it. Yeah.
Me or Aniol?
Not Brian. Aniol.
Read it in Spanish, Aniol.
¿Cómo entrenas la parte mental? Se nota que está bastante desarrollada en él. Saludos, máquina.
Okay, Brian, you say it now.
¿Cómo entrenas la parte mental? Se nota que está bastante desarrollada en el Saludos Máquina.
That was
Yeah,
good.
well,
Desarrollada is a new word for me. I have heard it, but I didn't.
Develop it.
So I think this is a question, right? He's asking about your mental capacity and how you developed it over time.
Yes. Okay, so honestly, look, for the mental part, I think I always been like this kind of athlete that is just like tough for the most of the part. I really like to push myself. I really like to just go on the limit. Most of the time, when I'm training, I do that. I did that too much, so I just like was not learning on how I move. Only just like going all out, going all out, and going all out. And I learned this last year. I learned how to improve that, right? How to work on it. You have to, guys, give me 1 second because Elena needs an Uber and I have to ask her an Uber.
Okay.
Perfect.
Sorry.
We'll mute
If
you
you want
for
to,
a
you can
second.
go ahead. Do you need to sign out and come back in?
No. I can do it with my phone.
Okay, you do.
Okay.
You do that.
Oh, you're on your computer.
I'll take over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
This thing that he's talking about is actually something that he and I have talked about throughout this past year because, and I think actually the last question, Patrick, might be something about how he did manage to qualify for the games this year. But, one of the, there's been several facets of his training and preparation that he's changed, some of them outside of the gym, but some of them with how he just approaches every workout, every day of working out, or every piece of his training. Because I think that the mentality of the sport that he's coming from, which is, football, soccer, is a little bit different than CrossFit. And he's, from what I can tell, he's kind of learned how to really dial in when he needs to and where he needs to, whether it's for a specific piece in a training session, in a certain round or movement within a workout, and just the application of that over a long period of time of training. And also in the competitions he's done this year has given him, I think, the opportunity to move to the next step that he's already taken by making the games.
I'm done. I'm good. So yeah, the thing is, okay, this is good now. The thing is, I've really worked on how do I talk to myself during the workouts. I just actually for this right after the last year semifinals, I did disappointed myself on how I did the workouts on the mental because for most of the times, like sometimes you just have this voice inside your head that keeps telling you like you can stop, it's not worth with your 80% it's enough, you can't stop. And for that semifinals I just did, like when I just hear that voice or heard that voice, I was just like slowing the pace down, chilling. And for the last, like, I placed like 22. And for the next few days, I was just like, yeah, I placed 22, but I was not pushing myself. I was 80%. Like, and for that moment of time, it felt good for me. But when the months pain, like right weeks after and so, it was just like the worst feeling ever I ever had because I was so disappointed about myself that I couldn't stop myself. Like I was hating myself. Like how you have the opportunity to do great things and you're not taking the chance because you don't want to push it because you're afraid of what happens if you just push, you know. And since then, I'm just taking notes and thinking how I do talk myself. When I do good workouts, how do I talk to myself? And I just take notes and I just think about it. And when this voice came sometimes, for example, when I'm doing a workout and this voice comes, sometimes I just don't push it because it's not the objective of the workout. It's more about just learn a new skill or try to put this thing that you've learned into a workout. You know, it's not always about pushing, but you have to know when to push, and you have to silence that thing. You know, and also I think most of the athletes that are rookies or they are new in the sport, when they are in the first big competition, they are just like, I'm I'm not worth, or I don't belong to this place. Like, it's my first rookie year, my first semifinal, and I see one side and it's Lazar Dukic or Ricky Garard or Moritz or whatever, any athlete that it's well known in the space, and he might think, oh, they are well better than I am. They are way more better than I am. How I'm gonna compete against them? You know, like I've thought this long time ago, and then you just realize that if you just qualify, you just belong, and you're capable of beating them, or beating yourself, or pushing yourself to the limit. And I think it's also, you just need time, but you also need like, not only time, but just like effort about thinking about this. And that, I think that's every athlete that wants to be the best, he has to think about the mental game, which I don't think it's the most important thing, because many athletes um, have this thing. Like, I don't talk about Ricky, about how he prefers mentally, but I'm pretty sure he does this in an instinct way. Like, he doesn't have to think, but he just do it because it's natural for him. Like, sometimes he push, sometimes he doesn't push. He understand when push or not to push, and when he pushes no matter what. Like, that's the thing. And I think that's the athlete, with experience know more than the athlete without experience, when to push, how to push, what mental thoughts do he have, you know.
Yeah, no, that's really well said.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a skill set that can be instinctual or kind of inherent to certain athletes, but it's also something that you can practice, you can improve. And so at some point in your career, if you
Mhm.
if you don't have it naturally, then it's at some point in your career you might make a
Yeah, you can
conscious
work on it.
choice to try to improve it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, like what you said is like, you're almost afraid to do it, but I think you you showing up and training with someone like Ricky shows that you're willing to do that. Because, most people would, I mean, everyone knows that Ricky trains hard and who he is, but you kind of like put yourself out there, expose yourself to him, knowing
Yeah.
that he's going to push you. And that says a lot to your mentality in terms of like, hey, a year ago I would have gave up, or I would just give 80%. But training with Ricky, you can't give 80%, because one, you're going to waste Ricky's time, and two, Ricky's going to call you out for it. And
Hmm.
and I think that says a lot about you going and doing that. And I think if anything, that's gonna that's gonna help you out this
Yeah,
week.
yeah. Ricky is nice. I really like. We're probably gonna compete together anytime soon.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah, I I, I yeah, a little I like that little teaser
yeah.
you're giving us.
You will get more info
I
anytime.
know. I probably. Um,
One more
okay,
question, I think.
yeah, we got
We
one
might have
more.
already hit on this question.
Well, I think you kind of maybe did talk about this.
What he do
What?
the different this year to qualify?
Oh yeah, we kind
Yeah,
of talked about that.
we talked about this, but yeah, just like training, more more like focused on technique, which still have to improve. I still have to improve a lot of technique drills and stuff, but I did improve a lot. I train with more conscious. I also stepped away some other stress stuff that I had in my life, and now it's not.
Hmm.
And then I just also started to think that I'm one of the best athletes in Europe, and I just prove it.
Do
I think.
do competition results like the fifth place in Dubai, or tying on points with a four-time games athlete like Ulda Supanix in Pamplona, do those contribute to that belief?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 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 yeah.
CJ, comment section, what are your expectations for the games? I think the French throwdown might actually be hard to live up to, which I would take as a compliment, basically saying that you crushed it in France. So what would you say to CJ?
Yeah, for my games experience, honestly, I want to do all the workouts for the long weekend. I want to really make it to the top 20, and to live all the experience, and to show off how capable I am to everyone and to myself. And honestly, I don't think about many things apart from that. I think the French throwdown is probably the most stressful competition out of the semis. Not because I know that there are other semifinals that had better results, had better timings, like the scores were better. But I think the unique about the semifinal in Europe is that the first hit already set at a time that it's quite good.
Every event there was like a top 5 time out of heat 1.
Yeah. So you just, and if you lose 5 seconds, you're losing points, and that's also a good setup for the games. But the games, it's going to be like this. You can relax.
The event number 4, the handstand walk row, I remember talking to you before that workout, and you said you were nervous about it. You executed really, really well. You finished under 8 minutes. You were within like 10 seconds of the second fastest guy in your heat, and there was like a 17th place finish.
Yeah.
Like,
I placed 20 that event. Yeah.
And right, and if you'd gone like 5 seconds faster, you would have been 10th.
Yeah, it was
something
crazy.
like that. So
Yeah,
and
just
that
like this kind
there
of stuff.
will be workouts like that at the games.
For the mental, because you have to be so focused that you can. If you step out of line, you're fucked. And I think that only happens in Europe for that event or for any other event. Like,
yeah, it was pretty.
I feel like we have an advantage because the semifinal we lived. It's more stressful than for the other athletes, probably.
Well, we know. I mean, the data speaks for itself. At the CrossFit Games, the men from North America have still been better than the men in Europe.
Yeah. Of course, I know.
But at every other stage, meaning if you look at the top 10, the top 20, the top 50, the top 100, the top 200 men from North America compared to Europe, it's very similar. And yet, North America still has 2 semifinals, nearly twice as many qualifying spots. So even though like you said, there's some better times coming from different regions, that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about that just to get into the European final field is almost twice as hard as it is in North America. And that what you're doing in Europe is you're taking 90% of the top 2 heats from the West and the East and putting them in one group. There's still 5 guys or 10, maybe 5 to 8 guys that get in Europe that just had a perfect quarterfinals for them, that they're really not the top 40 guys there, but that's always going to be the case. But those top 30 guys in Europe, I mean, it is a bloodbath.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah. Brian,
it's the most stressful weekend.
It is.
It's worse than the games, because for me at least this year, it's not like I don't have to be in the top 10 or whatever, which I want to, but it's different. Like this year in semifinals, if I don't make it to the top 10, I'm fucked. In sponsor way also, like it's more stressful for you, for me, because it's just like it depends a lot of things on your future than this year in the games.
And obviously, despite all that stress, you did really well. I was actually I could feel some of the stress that you had that weekend, but you just kept going on the floor and competing. Do you think that you do well in those stressful situations, or do you think that having the kind of freedom around the games could be even better for you?
I always feel like I'm pressured, so I don't feel like I have this is not a holiday. Like if I place 20 in an event, I'm gonna be angry. I want to be good, like I want to be in the top 10. But obviously there's no pressure. No one's putting more pressure than me for this weekend. And in the semifinal, it's a little different because it works different. Maybe next year I also have pressure from the brands or from the people around me, and also for my own pressure for the next year in the games. But for this year, it's only my pressure. Which is the most
Brian,
important.
Brian, do you recall who is the top? What's the top placing for a Spanish athlete at the games?
23, Fabio
23?
Benito last year.
Okay. Do you feel any pressure when it comes to doing that in terms of representing?
Of course, I want to beat him, but
Sure.
not for beating him.
Yeah,
Just
it's not disrespectful. It's just it's a goal.
It's just because I feel like I'm better in shape than to be 23 in the CrossFit Games.
Yeah. My other question is, I don't know if you watched the Dave interview where he mentioned perhaps in 2 years they're looking at the opportunity of having the games in Europe.
Yes,
Obviously that would be a great thing. Not just, I mean, it shows that'd be great. But this is your chance to do a sales pitch to pretend I'm Dave. Sell me why we should have it in Spain, and where in Spain should we have it? Yeah, and where in Spain should we have it?
Well, I mean, I think in Spain we have a large different cities that could host the games. I think they will have, depends on what city, it will have like a big thing for the city. Like it will be a great event for the city, and the council or the mayor will get a lot of involved in the city. Then the weather is the best weather you can have all around Europe. I mean, in August you will have good weather all around, but if you pick wisely, you will have a lot of different cities that could host the games. And then about the venue, I think there are a lot of, like, most of the cities, they have a big venue in Spain that could host the games. But honestly, I don't think it's going to happen in Spain. I think it's going to be in France.
I've heard kind of the same things, but the way I look at it is like France today is what Spain was in 2019. I think. I think Spain. Well, back
another
then,
way around.
No. I think between 2017 2019, CrossFit was really big. It was growing so big in Spain.
Still is.
It still is, but and I think just over the last 2 years, France has grown. It's grown similar in that. But I don't know. I would love to see it in Spain. I would love to see it somewhere like like Valencia, where you have the Mediterranean. You could do some swimming there.
That's probably too hot.
Yeah, it's probably too hot, like you said. But
if it's in August, I think it's got to be in Catalonia, because below Catalonia it's so fucking hot. Yeah.
True.
More than it's in Texas.
Yeah.
But
those are my 2 questions I had. Thank you for answering those.
It's good. Thank you.
All right, so that was pretty cool. It was nice to have the questions from the fans. Fun to finally do this. I mean, we had talked about it the day you qualified. We're gonna do a podcast, and we waited to the last minute. Oh, T-Bird. If you had to pick a winner, if you can't pick yourself, who are you picking?
Ricky or Callum? I think honestly, Ricky has a big chance. So yeah, I think Ricky is gonna win, and I wish he wins.
Yeah, I think there's.
And in the women's side, I always had a good relationship with Laura, so I really wish he also can win, and also Alex. I think she has the potential and the mindset, and she's just so good with everyone that I think she deserves everything good. It comes through her. So yeah.
Aniol, would you consider yourself a fan of the sport of CrossFit?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I know
Obviously.
all the workouts from the games in 2015, 2016. Like, I'm a fucking freak.
And he obviously listens to American podcasts with ratings. So
yeah, all of them. too.
Even the bad
CJ
ones.
approves of your picks.
Yeah.
Thank you, CJ.
Well,
CJ.
that's anything else you want to say, share with us before we turn it off for the night?
No, just like had a great time. Thank you for having me, and I'm looking forward to meet you, Brian, tomorrow or the next day, and can't wait to hit the floor in Texas.
Yeah, I'll get in touch with you when I get in town. I have a podcast tomorrow night, but Tuesday I'm planning to be around all day during check-in, so definitely will catch you there, if not before.
Man. Thank you a
All
lot.
right. Thanks, Aniol. Give Elena a hello for us.
Okay, I will. Bye
Okay,
bye.
see you.
Bye.
Aniol Ekai taking time and the Sunday night before the games to come and hang out with us. Spent nearly an hour and a half. Very cool. And hopefully you guys get to see some just some of the personality behind the athlete there, but also pretty clear when you listen to him talk about it that he invests a lot in this, and he's taken some initiatives in the past 12 to 18 months to strip away certain things from his life. I would say at an increasing frequency to make this kind of dream that he's been pursuing more and more obtainable. And also, a good amount of vulnerability. Like he just told us, I've been training with 3 weeks with Ricky. I beat him in one workout, but I'm close in a lot of workouts. And, so he's like very much a realist, very much aware. Like he said, he's a fan of the sport. He's been watching it. He knows the history. He kind of knows where he stacks up, but it's a sport. Like you still have to go out there and take the field of play, and you just never know. So I've seen him compete a bunch, as you guys heard, in live, which is cool. And I'm really looking forward to see what he can do against what will end up being by far the best field of athletes collectively that he's ever had a chance to test himself against.
Maybe this is maybe the answer is Fabian on this, but can you recall a rookie as battle tested as Aniol coming into the games?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm gonna look through some of the men here. I have a document that has all the rookies. It's kind of cheating, but probably not. I mean, it has to be, if anything, it has to be something recent, like maybe someone like Nick Matthew, that was like a spot away from making it 40 years before he made it. But like even the best competitions that Nick's really done, maybe were Wadapalooza 1 year, Granite Games 1 year. Whereas Aniol's done multiple Madrid championships, multiple Dubai fitness championships, multiple times at the semis, and then he's also competed at a bunch of competitions around Spain and other parts of Europe that there wasn't ever really coverage of those styles competitions. And so we started offering some of it, especially for an English speaking market. So yeah, that's tough. I feel like it's a great question. I'm just kind of scanning through here because maybe Spencer Panchik is another one.
Oh, Spencer is a good one. I like,
He's been, I was just looking, he finished 20th his rookie year 2 years ago. And, he was 2 spots away, I think, at the 2018 regionals, that legless rope climb thruster workout where Saxon finally made it through. And he's been competing in the sport since 2012 or training to compete in the sport. Like that might be a good shot, Spencer Panchik, actually.
That is. And then also Spencer, like he was around during the height of the sanctional era. So he had many opportunities to do like high level competitions,
Ariel Lowen on the women's side is another comparable one. By the time she made it, it was several years after she'd been competing at regionals.
True.
I'm not sure how high of level of competition she did prior to that outside of a regional and semifinal, especially since she's already had given birth. And so she had to obviously take some time away. And then a sneaky one, I guess this counts. I mean, I actually asked CrossFit this the other day because they, what counts as being Brent Fikowski was sort of that guy, but he had no competition experience at a high level besides barely missing it at regionals. There weren't as many opportunities to compete back then, which is why I didn't quite go that far back. Because, I mean, he made it in 2016, 2015, 2014. Like you could have potentially been in Dubai, but no Americans really, or North Americans really going there yet. Wadapalooza wasn't at the same caliber that it is now. Rogue didn't exist, and there weren't as many competitions to do. So as far as regional experience and being as good as possible without making it, Brent Fikowski, but battle tested, I would say no. CrossFit posted this thing maybe a week ago, and it gave Pat Vellner credit for being a rookie at the CrossFit Games in 2015. And I asked them, I said, that's interesting because he won Rookie of the Year in 2016. So are you just using his team
first year
as a rookie? to call him class of 2015, and they actually said, well, we need to check that.
Yeah.
But
I don't.
I was looking at Andrea Nisler, because
Oh
she
God.
was,
Yeah.
at the time she was a rookie in 2020
Yeah.
for the online games. Her pedigree was already pretty storied.
Like
and she
2014, 2013, you know, on the team.
And you know, and then if you're just saying battle tested, like all those teams that she's been on and the competitions that they did. So that's actually a super fun question that I hadn't thought about. So those would probably be off the bat some of the ones that I look at here and think of.
Yeah. I just think like modern era, like not modern era, but like over the last 2 years, you know, that guy's he's been putting in work, and he's been setting himself up for this. And, you know, it does sound like, you know, he's been in that position, especially like you said, Dubai, when you ranked him 16th and he finished 6th. And, you know, he's lining up in the same heat with Roman, Ricky, Lazar, you know. But then it's also interesting that he was in that heat with those guys. But then last year, you know, he was doubting himself, whether he belonged in a field that wasn't as strong as Dubai field. So the mental game, it seems like he's really put a grasp on that, especially since that moment. And I think that's been a major difference this year for him.
And I don't think we got into like the details of why I picked him where I did in our men's show necessarily too closely, but those last 2 years in Dubai are significant. If you look at the guys 4 ahead of him and 4 behind him, you know, you got Roman, Ricky, Lazar, and Fabian. You got Katulis, Branislav, Moritz, Luka Jukic, Yorgos Karavis. Like, these are all games athletes except for Katulis. And it's the same thing the year before. Fabian, Moritz, Vikowski, Jonakowski, Katulis, Luka Jukic, Guillaume Briand, Yorgos Karavis, Lazar, Victor Hoffer before he'd made it. So, you know, these are like, and he's right in the mix with that style of athlete. Clearly there's points discrepancies, and that's what you're seeing in the reflection of what he says about training with Ricky. Like, you could finish 4th in Dubai, 5th in Dubai, but you can be 100 points behind Ricky and Roman. Well, if you're 100 points behind those guys at the games, you're in the top 10 still. But the games are going to have more events, so you extrapolate that to maybe 200 points. But if you look at any games leaderboard, let's just look at last year's, for example, on the men's side, 200 points behind Adler is 753, which is 10 points more than Chandler Smith, who finished 7th. So, you know, he's been putting himself in these conversations, in these mix. He knows what it's like to go head to head with those types of guys. And who knows, you know, there's just, this men's field is crazy. And he's just one example of several guys that have an opportunity, if things fall the right way, to really, I think, distinguish themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I totally.
Dude, it's brutal. I mean, it's just brutal. Like, I see the comments on Instagram, the coaches, the fans, the training partners of people like laughing at my pick of whomever it is. It's like, dude, think about, if you know these athletes the way that we know these athletes, like, I can make a great case for every one of them. They're all exceptional. They're all phenomenal. They cannot all finish in the top 20. They can't. Half of them are going to miss it.
Yeah. But we're yeah.
So, you know, I totally, like, I just hope that it's not lost on the fact that our respect for every single athlete who's training right now. I mean, I've been wanting to say it. I think I'm going to talk about it tomorrow when I have Adrian Conway come on here, is that the CrossFit Games it's, you know how in like when you're dressing up, you have business casual. The CrossFit Games is like business fun. That's what you heard from Aniol. This is not a holiday. This is not a vacation. This is a business trip. Like, I'm here, and my performance means a lot to me. It means a lot to my potential, to my partners, to my sponsors, to the people who've been supporting me. And he came here to test himself against the best and to see how good he actually is. And at the same time, it's not as stressful as the semifinal. He is excited about the opportunity to get to do something different. He's having fun on this trip, in addition to preparing for a very intense and difficult competition. And that's
a
just
tuxedo t-shirt.
It's this unique element of the CrossFit Games that you pretty much don't get anywhere else. Like, at Rogue, not everyone who's showing up there is taking it as serious as they are this week. At Rogue, not everyone else who's showing up there is having as much fun as they have at the CrossFit Games. Like, there's nothing like it. And Right now, I know that every athlete who's going there for the minimum 8 weeks, the last 8 weeks, has been dialing everything in that they can. And some of them will end up getting hurt in the process and not being able to perform at their peak. That's the nature of it too. But most of them are fine-tuned and prepared in a way that we will only see once this year.
That's funny you said that, because this year feels like the first year in a while where I haven't heard anything like about an athlete saying they're just showing up because, they're showing up to collect their t-shirt. Everything I've heard is like these athletes are there to compete. And there's been past years, last year, I mean, at least the 4 or 5 years I've been covering sport, where you have an athlete just showing up, you know, just so that way they can get their stuff and call themselves a games athlete. But this is the first year I haven't heard anything like that about any of the athletes. I was talking to Evie Hollis, and she mentioned the same thing about Gemma Rader. Gemma's, she's not looking at this as a vacation, a free trip, because it didn't cost. It's not free. It costs her a lot of money to get here. She's enjoying herself, but yet she knows that she has a job to do, and and that's great, because I've heard stories in the past where it hasn't been that case, and I'm excited. I mean, this is especially, I mean, just that field, especially that men's field. It's just from top to bottom. It's you know when you rank Cole Grieshaber 34th, and I talked to him yesterday. He's like I'm going to surprise some people. He's like, this is the best I've felt in a long time, and you know what? It makes me doubt me putting him at 34th. Because I see it in his eyes. And I know the kid, and I want to root for the kid, but that's just how things are. Someone's got to finish 34th. Someone's got to finish last. Someone's got to finish 15th. And we're not doing it because we don't like you or anything. We're doing it because that's just how sport is. Every sport.
This is the World Championship event. You are one of the best of the best, if not the best person in your state, country, continent to make it here. We get it. But now it's the time to have those separations, to have those things. Aniol's, he beats everyone he trains with more often than not. I mean, once in a while there's guys that beat him because they have a pretty good camp over there. And now he's going and spending 3 weeks training against a guy who almost never beats. And now he's going to go to the games where there's a combination of those guys he should always beat, guys he doesn't know if he can beat, and guys who should always beat him. But it's not always going to go that way. There might be times where he beats a couple of the guys that on paper he shouldn't beat, or the other way around. And that's why we continuously talk about that, with the margins being as small as they are and the opportunities potentially being as few as there are, even though there's more than most competitions. If there's only 11 scored events, it's not, like we've said earlier, it's on the lower side of things. Momentum can be a huge factor. Timing can be a huge factor, and execution. And so we're going to, what I'm really hoping is that with the increased amount of media that exists right now, with the Barbell Spin podcast, with Shut Up and Scribble, with, everything that Coffee Pods and Wads, Clydesdale Media, and all these groups of people have been doing, now we all are going to be at the CrossFit Games. Will we have an opportunity to tell many different sides of the stories of the games about these athletes we've been learning more about, or are we going to fall into the same trap of telling the same story about 2 to 3 people that are vying for the title of fittest on earth? We know where CrossFit's going to put their media attention. They always do. The winners of the events, the winners of the competition. But we have all these outside media that have the chance to do something different, to continue to tell these stories. We saw the broadcast announcement that CrossFit is saying we're broadcasting them in all these different areas of the world. Some friends of mine are doing the Spanish broadcast this year. Josie Astula got invited on there,
nice,
which is pretty cool.
Good for Joe.
Jose, who went on his podcast earlier this year as well. So, it's cool that those guys get to tell those stories in those countries, and obviously they'll have their own flavors to add in terms of some of the Spanish athletes. Will there ever come a time where CrossFit invites one of the Spanish broadcasters on to do a spot about Aniol and Callum, who are competing out of Spain, to do a spot on the 3 Norway? Is there an expert in Norway? There is. In fact, we know who he is, that could do something on the 3 teams from Krieger Training that are at the games this year. Like, that's where we can see these little touch point opportunities for the global broadcast to highlight some of the athletes that are not necessarily just lower down the leaderboard, but that we don't know as much about because they've competed for so many years in their part of the world. But we have experts in those parts of the world that know about those athletes.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's I think we're really good about bringing those experts in there. And you brought up all the media, and there's still more new media coming out all the time. I wanted to kind of point it out. Keeping it real, he started podcasting and bringing some guests on, and he's done some fun stuff. So I think it's a good. Sorry.
Obviously, listening. Is that a picture of you, or is that Lucas Parker?
Yeah. Answer in the comments. I've said it time and time before, and I truly believe it. And if you're a fan, I was talking to Andre Houdet about this. If you're a fan of CrossFit, this what a good time to be a fan. There's so much media right now that you can listen and that you can choose from, and it's not controlled by one entity like CrossFit. If we wouldn't have all this other media, all you would know about CrossFit would be what they want you to know. But now you get to see so many different perspectives.
Greg C., this time next week, we'll know who the champs are, but also have seen amazing reality TV of the fittest humans on earth. Extremely well said.
Yeah.
Absolutely true. Interesting conversation in the chat here between CrossFat and Jeff.
Yeah,
So
the
we've
era
had
there.
eras. Do the venues define the eras? Madison, Ranch, Carson, etc. Well, this past year I put out rankings based on the eras of the CrossFit Games. I think to some extent they do, and maybe that will change over time. But when I first started like thinking about eras of the CrossFit Games, I did think about the Ranch era as a standalone, and I think that it probably will be for a while. Eventually, that might extrapolate to just California in general. But and maybe even as things go on, then we'll just have like the North American era as soon as things start expanding globally, where like the first 20 years become an era if it lasts 100 years or whatever. But I thought about like Froning as an era, and the post-Froning era being an era, and then it's like the athletes can also define as well as venues. So that'll be interesting to see how it evolves. But it was fun, kind of a cool conversation. I saw them.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, it's easy to do that. I always kind of look at like 2014 as kind of like the kind of start of like.
Well, that's what I said. Like Froning was the Froning era was like kind of before that, and then 2015 was like that post because the reason why I think that Froning is that guy that you could pick for something like that is not just what he did on the competition floor. Anytime we talk about the greatest of all time in CrossFit, we acknowledge the fact that Froning was the trendsetter. He was the guy who paved the way for the professional athlete in our sport, and that's why I think we can potentially refer to an era being like post Froning, because after Froning, the professionalism in terms of the earning potential for athletes, more than one athlete in the sport of CrossFit, increased. And because of that, the competition took on a different shape. And then it started to become more regular throughout the world and throughout the year. And I think all of that was a trickle down effect of what he did. Someone was going to do it, and he just ended up being the guy.
Yeah. I also look at 2014 because, we had the teens, the teams, the age groups, they kind of like expanded from there. And now we're seeing a lot of those teen athletes from that era are now competing, the Gabbies, Gabby's the perfect example, a teen athlete that was there from the first teen game. And now she's someone that's going to finish with a silver medal around her neck.
Somebody was giving me a hard time about Gabrielle Magawa. Basically, he told me, he said, "You've been on the Gabby bandwagon forever, and she just keeps letting you down." I was like, "No, she doesn't." Like,
no.
But the funny thing about that is, in 2019, I was still doing this like kind of a different version that year, but my own fantasy version of the CrossFit Games. And I picked her with, I think, like my second woman's pick that year. I thought that she was, and sometimes when I have a really good feeling about someone, I'll pick them like 1 or 2 rounds earlier than I really should, but I just really wanted her because I saw this potential. And then the first workout at legless rope climbs, and she got cut. She's technically 75th, which should have made the cut, but there were a couple athletes that failed the drug test, so she moved up from like 78th, so she just barely missed it. But that was a letdown because I didn't get to see her compete, and I thought that she was already going to be pretty good. But no, I mean, look, when we talked about the women's field and that group of athletes, that's just maybe 3 through 10 right now. We know that those things I was just talking about, the margins, the momentum, the execution, or the errors, can make the difference between a potential podium spot for any of those women and potentially fighting for your life to just be inside the top 10. That's how dense that competition is amongst those like 8 or 9 spots.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get any more events announced before the start or for the last one?
I'm gonna say yes. I think we'll get
Yeah.
another announcement. I actually expecting one tomorrow,
Yeah.
and then one on Wednesday. That would be. I think they'll probably announce 2 more for the individuals before the competition starts. I think
Hopefully some team events. They've only announced one.
that's what I was gonna say. And then I actually wouldn't be surprised if we saw like a double, like 2 team events announced at the same time on Tuesday or something like
Yeah.
that. So I think we will get some more. I think they'll probably be towards the start of the weekend. Like I wouldn't be surprised if event 2 is dropped tomorrow and event 5 is dropped on Wednesday for the individuals, and then similar number of things.
Yeah. Someone's gonna be accused about their Aunt Tia when they listen to Spanish broadcast. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, if you haven't seen on the bottom, friend Strike for 20% off Strike Movement. Like Brian said in the opening of the segment, we're just over. I'm excited, because one, I love working with good people, and bringing in Strike Movement as our exclusive title sponsor of our games coverage for this next week. I'm just talking to Mark, Dom, the crew there. They're just amazing. Obviously, you have like Mike knows. Brian, you have such a great and unique relationship with them. But have them to kind of be a part of this, I'm just excited for them. I'm excited for us. But they don't do codes. And the only couple times they've done codes have been with us. So, so if you use friend of Strike, you get 20% off your order. So it supports them. It supports us again. And like Poolbase said, Brian said it multiple times. I'm waiting. I can't wait to try their transits. Their transits are. I'm like, yeah, I love a good shoe. Like their transits. I can't wait to get those.
You're gonna be jealous. Wearing them this entire time.
Damn you! Damn you!
Mike Poolboy. If you don't follow Poolboy, by the way, you need to, because he's lined up to win the NorCal Classic this year in September.
What is that? 20? That 30 grand?
I don't know, but he's gonna. It's all he's talking about. He's gonna whoop up on Taylor and Colton and those guys. But he's been using Strike Movement for a long time, and he trains his ass off. I mean, I don't know. It's impressive, but heavy lifting, Metcon, short runs, literally everything.
You didn't say anything about his Orange Theory classes either, but
he showers in them, cooks
everything.
in them. Yeah, never takes them off.
I can't unsee that.
Scott Polensky watching the show. Great shoes. Yep.
Yeah. So take advantage of.
Here we go, Brian. Jeff, I hope you're right. I went with your power ranking somewhat for my Heat 1 picks. We haven't talked much about Heat 1. The thing is, Heat 1 and Tyler were the reasons that I met Strike Movement in the first place 2 years ago. After Tyler and I did a bunch of preparation that year. That was like the first time that Strike Movement was the first one to really support at the games what we were doing with Heat 1, and I got a pair of Hayes trainers there. But the Heat 1 app is doing something really cool this year. If you guys, I'm sure most of you guys know, but they have $10,000 first place prize if you manage to win the shot caller game. The shot caller game is a little different than it's been in the past. I'm gonna try to do well in it, because why not?
Yeah, 10,000. That funds a lot of our trips.
But I am gonna put out picks for every event. And how I'm gonna put out the picks, actually, instead of just putting out kind of like the same obvious picks over and over again, I'm going to use Spin's media poll, the top 25 that came out in July, and I'm going to break it into the top 10, the next 15, and then the 15 unranked athletes, at least for the first 7 events while there's the full field in there. And I'll give you one pick from each of those. Obviously, the picks from the top 2 tiers can potentially be winners of the event, which you want to pick. But this is also just a way to still identify the athlete that I think is likely to win, which will usually come from that top 10 group, but also give a little bit of opportunity to some athletes lower down the leaderboard to say, even though they may not win this event, they may not win the games, this might be their best event of the weekend, or an event where they could have top 5, top 10 finish and potentially upset some things. It also could be a situation like Aniol was talking about in Europe, where we may see a really good time come out of an early heat, and so that can give you maybe hopefully a clue. In general, on these things, I'm pretty good, usually 75, 80% accurate. So if you want to use some of that to help, you can, but no guarantees.
70% of the time it works all the time. Well, yeah. So thanks everyone. That was awesome. Again, Brian, we talked earlier. My cup has runneth over this weekend. It was hard for me to leave Dallas and head back down to South Texas, but it was really cool. Got to hang out with Khan for a couple days. Check on Sahara, hang out with the gym, and talk to so many athletes. Had a conversation with Ellie Turner. Justin Medeiros. Amy Green. I mean, it was great, and I'm really excited for our coverage. Obviously, I won't be a part of it as much as I've been in the past, in the games at all. So, but yeah. So you got a show tomorrow. Oh, you're going solo without me. I think you're going to do great. You and Adrian Conway. I think that's going to be awesome. Can you answer my previous question, please? What was that previous question? T-Bird, what was the previous question?
Oh, which podcast will you be on, or will it be friendly? Just don't want to miss where I can listen. So I haven't really decided the entirety of podcasts that I'm going to do during the CrossFit Games yet. I know that that Spin's doing a podcast in the morning and the evening, I believe. I think JR and Taylor are doing them after every event. And quite frankly, I don't want to have an oversaturation of the same conversations going on. It's already a lot to consume on the CrossFit Games weekend. Mm-hmm. But we are going to clearly be doing some things. So I will put out, like I said, picks for every event with some explanations. And I might do some Instagram lives, and I might do some like impromptu podcasts, depending on how things go. But if you guys specifically have any questions about anything, comments about whatever we are putting out, always put those things there. I might just get, I may just decide to gather up some questions or whatever one day and just do a podcast and answer that. I have talked to some of those people about the potential of doing something with them. Instead of, kind of at the same time as them. So if an opportunity opens up, I might do that. But a little bit, we have some things that are planned, but also a little bit playing by ear.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a long week for us. Obviously we have obligations to our sponsors like Strike Movement that we need to do. We have a smaller team than we'd like to bring, but everyone's going to be working hard. There are going to be late nights. We're looking at the schedule because we thought about maybe possibly doing, a quick 30 minutes or whatever with, my perspective over in Europe and, and what they see on ground. But it's long days. And like you said, we don't want to flood the market. And if people want to hear what Brian has to say or whatever, then just ask him. If you see him around, ask him. So more likely it'll probably be like eating some Asian Asian flavor. Oh, how about a quick breakdown? Yeah.
I'm going to do things after the events. So I'm going to after every event I'll do some kind of a recap. Standings is a little bit variable because sometimes it takes depending on the event and the scoring system and the team and whatever else appeals, it can take a little while. So I'll give just like almost immediate reactions to events. Similarly to what I did last year. Still playing around with the exact format, but that will definitely be there, but just more likely on Instagram than on a podcast on YouTube.
Yeah, Instagram's just a lot easier for us because it can be immediate. We don't have to set up or do anything on a podcast. There's a lot of stuff on the back end that has to be done to set up one of these podcasts, to host it, schedule, and stuff like that. It's a lot easier to just get a link and come on like our guests do. It's just it's just hard to do, especially with not knowing the exact setup. We don't know if there's a media room or stuff like that, but expect like day. We plan on covering the press conferences after each day, so that way you get to hear from some of the athletes, Dave, and some other people. So we plan on doing that, at least having them on, so that way you can watch because those aren't often shown. But yeah, I'm excited. Chad's going to do amazing things. Brian and Chad have the enhanced pass, so they'll be able to talk to a bunch of athletes and people, behind the scenes, and you know, we have some of the best content
Well,
creators.
and that's another thing that we're gonna
Yeah.
do. We're gonna do some similar vlog style to what we did at Syndicate Crown. You know, we're aware of the styles of vlogs that other people do, but we think we have a unique opportunity because of the traveling that we do to maybe talk to some other people. There's so much going on at the CrossFit Games. So hopefully we can give you guys a little bit of a perspective during it that's informative about what's actually happening, and then after the fact to give you a little bit of extra stuff if that's something you're interested in, maybe to hopefully, if things go the way I want, to get to hear from some personalities and people that don't necessarily get as much coverage during this time of the year just because there is so much going on.
Yeah, but that's what people expect from us. So, and yeah, things have been going great, and yeah, so shout out to Strike Movement. You got a cool show tomorrow. I'll be listening to it with Adrian. What a unique opportunity for Adrian. You know, we've been lucky enough to have Adrian on our show a couple times, so it's just been really cool to hear him talk about that and hear his perspective of being an athlete and preparing for the games. So yeah, that and yeah, I think that's the next time we actually next time you probably see me, I'll be in Deutschland. Yeah, so tomorrow's a full day and then I'm off, and then I'm excited for this journey. I'm excited for everyone. I'm excited for the team. It's going to be awesome, and we got a lot of cool stuff coming out after the games. The games is just the start of stuff we got planned. Like me and Brian, we're excited about some of the stuff potentially that are in the works right now. That's just gonna, I don't know. I'm just excited, and Brian knows how excited I am. You know,
I think everyone
so
can see it.
yeah, I really am. I'm really excited about it. It's cool. You know, if things happen. So yeah,
T-Birth, there we go.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh,
Yes,
Mike.
that's a great
Yeah.
question. I'll try to find that out and let you know, Mike.
Yeah. But all right, everyone. Everyone have a great Sunday. It's games week. It's start of games week. So yeah. You know, if you have any questions, send us a DM. If you want anything Brian to answer, or if you have any questions or anything during the games, just send us a DM and maybe Brian will address it. Hopefully address it maybe in one of the Instagram lives, or if he gets enough questions, maybe we'll do an impromptu live show, podcast or something like that. So, but appreciate everything. Appreciate our guests. But oh, thank you, Scott. Yeah, just a cog in the wheel, just a cog in the wheel, a spoke in the wheel, a cog in the machine, a cog in the machine, a spoke in the wheel. But no, yeah. But again, everyone, thanks for the support, for everything you do. Big week for us. Keep the support coming, but most importantly, support the sport, support the athletes, and always be friendly, our friends.